December 3rd, 2018, President Trump tweeted again, pointing out the many issues with the special counsel led by Robert Mueller. President Trump said Bob Mueller, who is a much different man than people think, and his out-of-control band of angry Democrats don't want the truth. They only want lies. The truth is very bad for their mission. And that ties into more news from today. This is an article saying Mueller withheld details that would exonerate the president of having a Kremlin back channel. Basically, more evidence that this entire investigation led by Mueller is completely bogus. And we know that Mueller has, and people on Mueller's team have protected Hillary Clinton. There's an obvious double standard in what Trump has called a witch hunt against him. There's some interesting details. This has to do with details from a report from the Justice Department. So they have quotes from there. They're saying it appears that Special Counsel Robert Mueller withheld key information in its plea deal with Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, which would exonerate Trump. It would have cleared Trump's name and undermined the entire purpose of the special counsel, would have undermined Robert Mueller's entire investigation. Real Clear Investigations did a report on this, and they are sourcing these Justice Department documents saying that Cohen, this is in the context that Cohen had just pleaded guilty last week to lying to Senate Intelligence Committee in 2017 about the Trump organization's plans to build a Trump Tower in Moscow, telling them under oath that negotiations he was conducting ended 5 months sooner than they actually did. Mueller, however, in his 9-page charging document filed with the court, seen by Capitol Hill sources, failed to include the fact that Cohen had no direct contacts at the Kremlin, which undercuts any notion that the Trump campaign had a back channel to Putin. That whole claim, this was the quote, says on page, they're referencing page 7 of the State of Criminal Information, the Statement of Criminal Information filed against Cohen, which is separate from but related to the plea agreement. Mueller mentions that Cohen tried to email the Russian president, Putin, his office on January 14. So Cohen, saying in this report, tried to email Putin on January 14th, 2016, and again on January 16th, 2016. But Mueller, who personally signed the document, omitted the fact that Cohen did not have any direct points of contact at the Kremlin and had resorted to sending the emails to a general press mailbox. Sources who have seen these additional emails point out that this omitted information undercuts the idea of a back channel and thus the special counsel's collusion case. This is one section from that page saying on about January 14th, Cohen emailed a Russian official office asking for assistance in connection with the Moscow project. On or about January 16th, Cohen emailed Russian official's office again, said he was trying to reach another high-level official and asked for someone who spoke English to contact him. So again, there's no direct contact named there, but Mueller leaves most of that out still in that report. Page 2 of the same document, same charging document, offers further evidence that there was no connection between the Trump campaign and the Kremlin. August 2017, the letter from Cohen to the Senate Intelligence Committee states that Trump, quote, was never in contact with anyone about this Moscow project proposal other than me, an assertion which Mueller does not contest as false. So Mueller is not saying that this is wrong, which means that prosecutors have tested its veracity through corroborating sources and found it to be truthful. According to Sperry's sources from the Real Clear report from today, they said that it's also unchallenged. They're also adding that also unchallenged by Mueller is Cohen's statement that he ultimately determined that the proposal was not feasible and never agreed to make a trip to Russia. So that also unchallenged by Mueller. They say, though Cohen may have lied to Congress about the dates, it's clear from personal messages he sent in 2015 and 2016 that the Trump organization did not have any line of communication, no formal line of communication set up with Putin's office or Kremlin during the campaign. There was no secret back channel. So as far as collusion goes, the source added, the project is actually more, it proves Trump innocent, this project, more so than any kind of incriminating evidence that they've been looking for Trump and his campaign. Trump Tower Moscow meeting, it's been spearheaded by New York real estate developer, longtime FBI and CIA asset, Felix Sater, bears a passing resemblance to the June 2016 Trump Tower meeting between members of the Trump campaign and a Russian attorney who happened to hate Trump. He was an anti-Trump lawyer, a Russian attorney, and which was set up by a British concert promoter tied to Fusion GPS firm Hillary Clinton's campaign, paid to write these unverified, the fake Trump Russia dossier. So Britain's role in there as well. And Trump had recently, quite recently, just in about the last week, said that he is planning to release documents that would further prove Britain's role in this and undermining the Trump campaign and spying on the Trump campaign as well, working with Obama admin officials. MI6 is trying to stop Donald Trump from releasing this classified information on their involvement in that as well. So that's a fight that is going on as well. Could lead to some more disclosure. They go on to say here, they pull another quote that says, specifically, we have learned that the person who sought the meeting is associated with Fusion GPS, this firm, which according to public reports was retained by Democrat operatives to develop opposition research on the president, and which commissioned the phony Steele dossier. In both the Trump Tower meeting and Trump Tower Moscow negotiations, it is clear, in both meetings, it is clear that nobody in the Trump campaign had any sort of special access to the Kremlin, while Cohen's emails and text messages reveal that he failed to establish a contact with Putin's spokesman. He did, however, reach a desk secretary in the spokesman's office. What's more is that Sater, a Russian immigrant with a dubious past, who was representing the Bayrock group and not the Trump organization, who hooked up it was him that had planned this Moscow Trump Tower project in 2015, suggesting that Trump would license his name to the project and share in the profits, but not actually commit capital or build the project. Felix Sater, FBI and CIA asset as well. He went from a Wall Street wonderkind working for Bear Stearns and the Lehman Brothers to getting banned from securities industry over a barroom brawl, which led to a year in prison, to facilitating a $40 million pump and dump stock scheme for the New York Mafia, to working telecom deals in Russia, where the FBI and CIA then tapped him as an undercover intelligence asset who was told by his handler, quote, "I want you to understand, if you're caught, the USA is going to disavow you, and at best, you get a bullet in the head." At best, they said, that's a quote. The Moscow project, meanwhile, fizzled. The project fizzled because this asset did not have the pull. He did not have the pull within the Russian government that he said he had. At best, he had a third-hand connection to Putin, which had never panned out. Sources also say that this asset, Sater, who Cohen had described as a salesman, testified to the House Intelligence Panel in late 2017 that his communications with Cohen about putting Trump and Putin on a stage for a ribbon cutting for a Trump Tower in Moscow were mere puffery to try to promote the project and get it off the ground. So it was not true. Also, according to his still undisclosed testimony, Sater had also swore that none of the communications had involved taking any action to influence the 2016 presidential election. None of the communications had anything to do with influencing the 2016 election. None of the emails and texts between either Sater or Cohen mention Russian plans or efforts to hack Democrats' campaign emails or influence the election. Tom Fitton, they pull a quote, Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch noted of Mueller's strategy, quote, Mueller seems desperate to confuse Americans by conflating the canceled and legitimate Russia business venture with Russia collusion, with this debunked already Russia collusion theory that he was actually hired to investigate, said Fitton. This is a transparent attempt to try to embarrass the president. The mainstream media took the ball and ran away with it anyway. Even with the lack of evidence, CNN, they said, meanwhile, said that Cohen's charging documents suggest that Trump had a working relationship with Putin. Again, the documents, if anything, prove the exact opposite, but CNN is saying that proves that relationship. Putin, who had leverage over Trump due to the project, that's what CNN is claiming. Well, into the 2016 campaign, one of the president's closest associates was in touch with the Kremlin on this project. As we now know, and Michael Cohen says he was lying about it to protect the president. So that was a quote from Wolf Blitzer, CNN. The way that he's framing the story, he's leaving out all of those details. Tom Fitton points out how they're using this narrative to try to embarrass Trump based off this extremely weak info here. They have some more mainstream quotes trying to do the same thing. One final one here says, now we have evidence that there was direct communication between the Trump organization and Putin's office on this, as Cohen tried to email an office and there was no specific contact. That's how they word it, though, the mainstream media. They said, I mean, this is collusion. So that's from Mother Jones saying that's evidence of collusion when it's not. One final quote from Real Clear Investigation says, Adam Schiff, the incoming Democrat chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, said that Trump was dealing directly with Putin on real estate ventures, and Democrats will investigate whether Russians laundered money through the Trump organization. As he points out, however, formal federal prosecutors said Mueller's filing does not remotely incriminate the president in purported Russia collusion, doesn't even imply he directed Cohen to lie to Congress. It doesn't implicate the president in any way. The reality is this is a nothing burger. And you could say that of most of what Mueller has been. I mean, the effects of it have been very serious, but the investigation itself has been bogus. That's what President Trump has been claiming, and more evidence here that that is what seems to be going on. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. I will continue to follow this and follow up with more details. I do have a link to my Patreon account in the video description, patreon.com/realityreader. Thanks everybody that supports the channel over there. I also have a PayPal link. And yeah, let me know what you think. I will follow up soon. Thank you.